Welcome to Two Poor Artists, where we're poor at giving people what they want, but mostly we're poor at making art. I'm Isaac.
And my name is Benj.
And it is a strange thing to go back and look at your YouTube channel. Like, I don't recommend it.
No, especially not our YouTube channel.
No, just stick with what you got. Once a week, forget that there's anything in the past. Like, it's better to not overdose on
the past.
Super
Never
artists.
helped anyone.
No, not really. But seeing as though we're not smart, we're poor. We did exactly that. We looked up today what our least viewed video was because we thought we knew what it was. We thought it was Sausage Fest,
right?
Because we're like,
because who
would
been.
click on that? No one.
Yeah.
But it turns out there are quite a few videos that were viewed worse or less than that, including the one we're going to draw.
Yeah.
Again today. See,
yeah,
we don't
because we figure if you guys hated it so much that you didn't even watch it, you probably want to see it again.
exactly right because we don't know what you want.
Yeah.
We don't know how to give you what you want.
I mean, this
clearly.
might be our most viewed video now.
Like
somehow.
there are more people in this building than watched that video. Like between us and the legal team and the theology team and the guy in the corner. We don't even know who he is today. We're just hey, you want to sit in the corner?
It's not my dad or Josh.
It's not either of them. It's just the guy in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just sitting. He looks content for now because we haven't started drawing yet. But.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll leave once we start drawing.
And you will too. But that's okay because we're going to still draw Pokemon Challenge. This is our least viewed video. It was called Pokemon Challenge. And in this old video,
8 whole views.
And in this video, we each looked up a Pokemon. Okay, if you don't know anything about Pokemon, first of all, let's have a moment of silence. Second of all, you should know at least something about Pokemon. You live in the world, and Pokemon's a big deal.
You've heard of Pikachu.
Yeah, like you may have had to, secretly play the Pokemon games on your neighbor's Game Boy because your parents wouldn't let you, but you've still played them. Like your parents maybe never bought you Pokemon cards, but you have one. You don't even know where it came from.
Even if you are those parents that didn't let your kids play Pokemon, you probably played Pokemon.
It's true. And you all know who Pikachu is, even if you just call him Pokemon or call all the Pokemon Pikachus or something like that. You probably had a first email address, some of you, that was called Charizard7. Or maybe that was just me. But the point is, Pokemon is a big deal. So what we've done, if you don't know anything about Pokemon, is every Pokemon in the games has what's called a Pokedex entry. Now, if you don't know what this is, it's basically a quick little blurb about the Pokemon.
Usually a lie.
Yeah, it tells you something just either really underwhelming about the Pokemon.
So it just physically describes what it looks like.
Or it tells you something incredible, and you're like, I don't know if that Pokemon can do that in the world, or it would have destroyed the world.
Here's just some of the random things. Machamp. He's a Pokemon with 4 arms. He can punch 500 times a second. And not only that, but another Pokedex entry says he can destroy a mountain with every punch.
Yep.
So that means he can destroy 500 mountains a second.
And, that just can't be real.
No.
Right? It's like someone just was like, what would be something incredible to write down?
Or like Macargo is so hot. It's hotter than the center of the sun.
And it's like there's multiple of them on Earth.
Yeah.
And people stand near them.
You can have one as a pet.
Then you have things like Drifloon that says it carries away lost children. And you're like, that can't be what someone wrote down.
If that was true, these Pokemon would not be something a 10-year-old can just have as a pet.
No, because it might just carry them away, right? It's not good. But the point is, we know our Pokemon. We know a lot about Pokemon. We have been Pokemon fans since it first came to America.
Some of them, like Alakazam, who has an IQ of 500, why is he a pet?
Yeah.
That a 10-year-old can have. Why is he listening to the orders?
And why aren't they using them to solve the world's problems?
Yeah.
They're fighting with them in the streets and stuff instead. But the point is, we know our Pokemon, and today we have each picked. There's well over 1,000 Pokemon now. I forget exactly. It's 1,050 or something like that now.
Yeah.
There used to just be 151 back in good old
when
days.
the first games came out.
Yeah. But now there's lots, and even though we know our stuff with our Pokemon, there are some that we don't really know well enough.
Mm-hmm.
So we've tried today. We've each picked a Pokedex entry. So a quick little description of the Pokemon. I'm going to read mine to Benj, and he's going to draw the Pokemon that fits this description.
Right. And now I could try to make a guess. So he could read the description, and I could say, I'm guessing that's Alakazam, and I could draw Alakazam. But that's not what I'm going to do. Maybe that's what Isaac will do. I'm going to draw what I think a Pokemon that could fit that description would be.
And if it looks like the actual one, then the people who wrote the Pokédex entry did a good job.
Yeah.
If it looks nothing like it, then they really need to rethink it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, some of these, okay, let me just give you today's... I'll give you your Pokemon.
Yes,
right? This says...
We can just start. We're a bit early from when we normally start, but we can start.
I'll just read it many times. It says, in its true form, it possesses a huge amount of power. Legends of its avarice tell how it once carried off an entire castle to gain the treasure hidden within.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, see, I could do some deduction here. You say true form.
Yes.
Which means that it must have a true form and an untrue form. Now, there's not too many Pokemon that change in forms.
Can you think of any that do?
I can think of a few.
Like Rotom?
Yeah, Rotom doesn't change forms. He takes over.
Possesses
electronics.
But that also is just ridiculous because he turns them orange and they just look like a Rotom.
But there's a few because there's the Pokemon Z that has like the cells, and then it like merges together so it has the 50% form and the 100% form. So that could have a true form as its 100% form.
Or are we talking about like a Mega Evolution Pokemon or something?
There's also like Hoopla. Hoopla has two forms. Also, all of the Pokemon that like the genie-looking Pokemon, they all have two forms, and also all the Pokemon that came out with like Diamond and Pearl,
they all have multiple forms.
They all have multiple forms.
You also have like the future and the past forms of Pokemon now from Pokemon.
So what's the true form? So the past form or the future form? Yeah,
like the true form would be the one in the past, right?
Yeah.
In the past, it was carrying off castles. Now it's just robbing banks, something.
Yeah. So, like, if I were to guess, the fact that it used the word avarice and the fact that it talks about true form, and there's a Pokemon that has a form called Origin Form, which is Giratina, that would be my guess. But I'm not going to draw Giratina. That's boring.
No, see, you have to draw the Pokemon.
Is it Giratina? I don't know. That's a guess.
You have to fit the Pokemon description.
But if it's stealing a castle...
Yeah.
It's got to be cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it's stealing it for the treasure, which to me, that doesn't sound like Giratina anyways, but it does sound like Smog. So,
like we're going dragon. We're talking the dragon from the Hobbit books.
From the Hobbit books.
Yeah.
So we're going to draw a dragon Pokemon.
If you don't know much about Pokemon games, I'll tell you a little bit more too. Like Pokemon games, each one that comes out is based on somewhere in the real world. Like the original one is based on it's literally the region is called Kanto, and that's because it's based on the Kanto region of Japan. Like it wasn't even trying to hide where it was from.
No.
It's got Pokemon that are based on animals found in Japan. It has like a mountain like Japan. Like it just looks very Japanese, which makes sense because the game came from Japan. But then you've got Pokemon Sword and Shield, and when you think of swords and shields, obviously you think of England, like like the medieval knights of old. So they based the game on being in England. They've had ones in Paris. They've had ones in a few in Japan. They haven't had an Australian version yet. I think that would be pretty cool, honestly.
Yeah,
like if they don't do an Australian version
they've had a few Australian Pokemon, like in was it Sun and Moon, that had which was based off of Hawaii, but it had like the koala Pokemon, right?
I think so. Yeah,
like because they had like tropical Pokemon, and for some reason that.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it climbs trees. It must be, Yeah. I think they just were running out of animals that are recognizable.
Yeah. At some point, it seems like that's the deciding factor.
Mm-hmm. I still think it'd be cool to have a Australia-based one.
I agree.
It'd be terrifying.
You could have a bunch of like horrible spiders.
Yeah, like spiders and snakes
and like those
sharks.
Those like flying foxes.
Terrifying. Yeah, anytime you take an animal that's supposed to walk on the ground and it starts to fly, you just know something's wrong. It's like when you see a cockroach and it starts flying, and you're like, that is just straight from Satan.
Like, please stay on the ground.
Yeah.
So, this normally I would try to do like a
straight lines.
No, I would never.
Yeah, we've given up.
Normally I would do like that whole like thing where you have like every other. Yeah. This is low budget castle.
A low budget castle. I don't know that low budget castles are something anybody's ever seen. You know? Like, I guess if you go to like an amusement park that's trying to emulate Disneyland and it's like they didn't have $1 billion budget, like they probably have a castle that's like a low budget castle. Like if you've grown up somewhere in the middle of the United States, which isn't near either of the Disney parks, you've probably seen a theme park that has a low budget castle.
Yeah. Like even us, like we're right next to Disneyland, but we still have castles and coasters.
Yeah. See,
which is like, is there even a castle there? Like,
I think there is.
I think there's like that cardboard cutout.
A low budget castle
that like kind of looks like a castle.
When you're within
in the distance
1,000 miles of a Disney park, you shouldn't try to make a castle. You know, I remember reading once that when they opened a Disneyland in Paris, they like had to really up their game when building the castle because they're like, man, people could just drive and see a really cool real castle, you know, somewhere around here. So they had to make it like this really fancy, really big castle so that even castle people would be impressed.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, because castle people are snobs. Mostly because they're French.
There's few people snobbier than castle people.
Yeah. Like, if you have the audacity to even start commenting on someone's castle, like complaining about someone's castle, like you have got
your castle isn't castle-y enough for the castle club.
Exactly. Those people just you can just feel the snootiness on their face. Like you can picture them, and they look French.
Yeah. So there's a Pokemon that like lives in a treasure chest. So that
Gimmighoul?
Yeah, Gimmighoul. So this is a Gimme. So this is like the treasure. The Gimmighoul is the treasure.
So wait, is this the Pokemon or is this the castle it's stealing?
No, this is the castle it's stealing. And there's a Gimmighoul that's like the treasure he was after.
What? That thing on the left, is it just like a lily pad?
No, it's the ground.
Oh.
So like he pulled up the ground.
He plucked the castle from the ground.
He plucked the castle from the ground.
And the castle was
hole.
Connected into
There's
the ground?
like a hole.
Yes, I am aware. But I think if you had a hand big enough to pick up a castle...
You don't think the foundation would be strong enough to pull up some of the ground?
I don't know that it could pick up
There's
much.
Plumbing and stuff. This is a modern castle.
Modern castle. See, that's my mistake. I thought it was just like you plucked it up and you found the old like outhouse hole, and it's just the worst thing ever. It's just 1,000 years of sewage.
No, like there's like a slight basement in here. And then there's like plumbing all around.
I forget about how deep dungeons go and how much plumbing dungeons have.
Yeah. You got to have proper plumbing if you want to have a dungeon.
Yeah. Everybody who is a castle snob knows that.
So now I'm drawing the Pokemon, which I gave myself a lot of room to do.
I'm like, this thing is going to be too small to steal a castle, I think.
No, so we've got, I'm drawing like a...
You know what a great heist it would be to steal a castle? Like, how do you do it? Do you steal it all at once? Like, you get a crane and like a bunch of helicopters and you tie it to the castle? Or do you steal it like brick by brick?
All I know
slowly over
is if you want to plan a heist, you better go find Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, that's true.
He knows.
We spent yesterday celebrating the internationally known holiday is Sausage Fest, where we get together with a bunch of men and we watch manly movies and eat sausage because that's what you do. And we watched Guy Ritchie movies. If you don't know who Guy Ritchie is, he's probably the best director right now, in my humble opinion. As an artist like him, Well, I mean, we're both artists. Like,
so it's your professional opinion.
In my professional opinion, Guy Ritchie is the finest director. He still uses color, though.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. Not
Steven
like
Spielberg and Zack Snyder have
Snyder.
both used black and white in the modern era.
Mm-hmm.
But, I digress. We watched Guy Ritchie movies, and if you don't know anything about Guy Ritchie, I keep saying that today. I feel like the worst artist-splainer ever. It's like mansplaining, but an artist.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never heard anything about Guy Ritchie, just know that all of his movies, he makes like war movies, and he makes movies about like spies, and he makes movies about King Arthur, and he makes movies about Sherlock Holmes, but all of them are heist movies.
Yes.
Everyone.
That's what he does. He specializes.
He really does. Like, no matter what movie you're watching, you're like, at some point, someone is going to have to make a plan to steal something from somewhere. And without fail, it happens.
Yes.
We watched his movie, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, right?
Mhm.
It's like about a group of, like a ragtag group of people during World War II who were tasked to, stop U-boats. And you're like, how is this going to be a heist? Oh, it ends with them having to make a plan to steal a ship. You're like, oh, so it's just a heist movie now.
Yeah, like, we can't blow up the ship.
We have to make a plan to
steal
steal it. Oh, okay. Yeah.
The regular thing that happens in World War II.
We were watching another movie.
I mean, supposedly it's a true story.
Yeah.
To some degree.
But, like, he was interested in making a movie about it, if so, because it's a heist.
Yeah, like, he's, like, heard about them and is like, wait, they heisted?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, no, they stole. They heisted a boat?
And then we watched Guy Ritchie's movie called Guy Ritchie's The Covenant.
Yeah. Otherwise known as the heist movie of
the war in Afghanistan. Yeah, because it's a movie about a guy in Afghanistan and his translator. It's a really serious movie that's trying to make a good point, but it literally, the last 40 minutes is, okay, we've got to make a plan on how to steal this guy away from his country and get him to America. And it's like it's literally like watching somebody plan to rob a bank, except they're planning to rob a person from his country. This thing that you're drawing is quite terrifying.
Yeah.
And I think it has one too many legs now.
No, well, it has like two, like it has like more, it has like like 6 limbs.
This is the kind of thing that like would exist in the Pokemon world, and you'd wonder how it coexists with every other creature on Earth.
Yeah.
And also how they don't like rule the Earth, Yeah, although most Pokemon aren't this big.
Yeah, like this thing is huge.
I guess this is its
because
true
it's stealing.
form.
Yeah, like its regular form is like
a little pet,
like something that you would have fitting on your belt,
like something that a lady would have in her purse and take out at parties, and people would be like, "Oh, it's so cute! You gave it a sweater," and then it goes into its true form and is like plucking castles off the coast.
And it has like it's like one of those weird things where it's like it's clearly a dragon, but it's also a mammal because it has fur. You're like, how does that even work?
Oh no, I have drawn. Go back and look at some of our old videos. There is what was the snake I drew? I drew a snake with hair. I don't recommend looking at it. It's absolutely horrifying.
It's bad.
We've done a few Pokemon videos over the year because Pokemon stuff just stays relevant and we're nerds. And they're always quite horrifying. This is actually one of the less horrifying things I think we've drawn. And it's quite terrifying in its true form.
Yeah. I mean, because it's something that steals castles. It can't be, like, it can't just be this nice little fairy.
Not in its true form.
No. Maybe every other time it's a nice, cute little fairy, and then it mega evolves or whatever into a giant dragon.
This looks like something out of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, it does. It definitely seems more Yu-Gi-Oh! Than Pokemon.
Like you're getting your card games crossed here.
Its head is too scary to be a Pokemon.
This is like a blue-eyed, triangle-eyed dragon.
Yeah. I made its face too scary to be a dragon. Like, or a Pokemon, because this would be like if it was based off of some Persian nightmare
I don't know.
creature.
Yeah, this looks like you know how every October they like have to come out with scary movies for some reason because people are dumb.
Yeah,
and like that. I don't know, but like every year there's like, oh, new monster movie. This is like a B monster movie though. You don't get movies in theaters where things are stealing castles. No, that's like a straight to TV. You know, like buried in the basement of the Netflix.
How would it even be like a horror movie? Like what? Like you're the owner of the castle and you're gonna go get your castle back? What?
No, you just,
like you. This is when you give up.
This is like a really bad, like, you know, medieval knight movie. They're like, we need a knight that's been stealing castles, and he just shows up, and there's just like a pile of castles, you know.
It's like a horde. Like it's like sleeping in its horde, but it's all just castles.
Yeah, it's not like gold coins like Smog. It's just like a pile of castles that is slithered in between.
Yeah,
it's just the worst.
Like thrown about. Castles.
And you know he like goes up into the top of a castle and he's standing up there, you know, on the what do they call those things? Not pipettes. That's what you use in science class, on the parapets. He's standing on the top of the castle, and you know he's like got his sword, like pointing it at the thing, and it just plucks up the castle and brings it back home. And you know,
I mean, because this thing's huge. How would you even hurt it?
Well, I think he has
to go get. He has Pokemon.
He has to get it back into its not true form.
I mean, a champ could just punch it, and it would be out.
I think the knight would probably destroy it by learning the secret song. You know, that transforms it back into a lowly little lizard. And then he then it becomes a Pokemon story where he's like, oh, he defeated the ancient beast by making it be his pet. Yeah, that's the thing about all Pokemon games, is there's always some like the Pokemon that invented time itself, and it's like this 10-year-old boy finds and captures it, and you're like, you're saying that 10-year-old now is in charge of the Pokemon that controls all time,
which means that he's in charge of all time,
and he's and like you playing it, you know, as a 31-year-old man, and you're like, yeah, I can take on this responsibility. You know, like I would be a good candidate to control all of time. Yeah. Trust me with it. But then you think of a 10-year-old, you know, like, do you trust any 10-year-old with anything, any amount of time? No. You give a 10-year-old a half hour and you're like, do what you want.
No,
and you're like,
you watch them for all half hour.
Yeah, you keep both eyes on them, like you just stare at them for a half hour,
because you know, whatever they're going to do is going to be the worst.
You're going to have to change your mind and be like, oh, actually, you've had 5 minutes and you couldn't handle it yet. We'll go for 6 tomorrow.
So giving them all time
would be a bit of a mistake. You know, and then it just keeps progressing. Every Pokemon game, that same 10-year-old has then captured, you know, the Pokemon that rules the underworld, and you're like, first of all, that Pokemon should be ashamed that it's, you know, been captured by a 10-year-old boy who wanders around the forest.
See, I think new games have actually decreased in that way,
because they're like Pokemon that created all Pokemon that they've captured all the Pokemon that have,
now it's like
God attributes.
This Pokemon is a motorcycle.
Yeah, and it's a really cool motorcycle.
Yeah, there's other Pokemon that are also motorcycles.
But this is an electric motorcycle. This is an old motorcycle. And you're like, okay. Trusting a 10-year-old with a motorcycle,
it's probably not the best idea. No. But is it better than all of time?
Yeah,
all of space?
I think they've literally just run out of, like, you know, God things to give the 10-year-old.
We've already given them omnipotence. Yeah. What else can we give them?
You can still catch yourself a Tyranitar, though, that is said to level mountains. And apparently the 10-year-old is just like, there's...
invulnerable to all damage.
Yeah. He's like, go.
Like, what does that even mean in a Pokedex?
Go fight someone with that Pokemon.
Yeah. Go fight anything with a fighting attack. It's not invulnerable to all damage.
Yeah.
4 times weakness.
This thing's terrifying though. Like I can see it.
What is it named? Because see, Pokemon always have names that are like they're either like based off of some like folklore, or they're like a pun.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, what is this guy called?
So this Pokemon, it's based somewhat off of Smog, which is also sounds like smog.
Wow, profound.
Yeah. And he like gets on things and carries them. So I'm gonna call this Pokemon
Smog.
Smogon.
That's already a Pokemon.
No, it's not.
Oh, Bagon?
Nope. Smogon is the website you battle people in Pokemon on.
That's what I'm thinking. Man, this is like their logo now. Smogon. There is a Bagon.
Yeah,
there is a Bagron and a, I like how you gave us a little top-down view of where he plucked the castle from.
Yeah, and there's a treasure chest Pokemon in there.
Yes.
Gimme
Ghoul with the Gimme coin. Gimme Ghoul coin. Wow. Would you like to know what Pokemon it actually is?
Yes, what is it?
It is the Pokemon Hoopa.
Hoopa.
Okay,
so
it was one of the ones you contemplated.
It was one of the ones I mentioned.
Hoopa, the one that continually carries around a hula hoop, but is also apparently able to steal castles.
Because when it transforms, it like has 6 arms and
keep in mind that this Pokemon stands 1 foot 8 inches tall and weighs 19 pounds.
Does its true form have a different weight?
I don't
but
know.
It steals castles by teleporting them. Like it opens up portals in space time.
It's much different than.
But remember, a 10-year-old can capture this thing.
Yes.
And use it in battles against other 10-year-olds. So other 10-year-olds that have their Caterpies, and this guy comes out with a world-ending monstrosity.
Teleports it to like far reaches of space or something.
Have fun in the sun, Caterpillar.
Yeah, you use a string shot. Puts a little silk string at it, and you're like, into the sun. Yeah. No, I think there's just some unspoken rule in the Pokemon world where it's like, oh no, it was knocked out by a butterfly. Like, how? How is the castle stealing, teleporting Pokemon?
How did that Caterpie's tackle even hurt it?
That is a caterpillar. Literally, just a caterpillar. It knows 2 moves. It knows tackle, but really, it can't be called a tackle. Because it's a caterpillar.
But somehow, it is enough to at least damage.
Did you save that?
No, you cleared it before I got the chance to.
There we go. You go ahead and save that, and I will just look upon it in terror.
Here, I can, before I save it, I can read you.
Oh, so I can start thinking about
so you can start thinking.
I'll start thinking about my Pokemon.
Okay, here is the description of your Pokemon. Searching for an opponent to test its skills against, it emerges onto land. Once the battle's over, it returns to the sea.
So the first thing I'm thinking of, just right off the bat, is how it returns to the sea. It's a big hint. That's a big hint. Like, more than any other hint you could have given me. That means it's probably a water Pokemon. Unless, of course, it's just not.
Right. I mean, it's clearly a Pokemon that lives in or on or by the sea.
It has been to the sea at some point.
Yeah, to return to it.
But then it comes out looking for a fight, a battle.
Yep.
What kind of battle is it looking for? Is it looking for like a fist fight? Because then we've got lots of fist fight Pokemon. We got Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee. Wait, one of them is Punchy. You've got a couple. See, my mind automatically goes to different Pokemon that I already know of, right? You've got like Kingler, big crab Pokemon.
Yep.
Right? From the first generation.
Yep. And it wants to test its skills. So it's not just, bloodthirsty wants to battle. It wants to test its skills specifically. It's like then it says once the battle is over, it returns to the sea.
Like the One Punch Man or the Goku of the sea. You know? Looking for someone strong. Does it like sense like an opponent? Like, if you're strong and you go near the ocean, this thing's just going to emerge and challenge you. That'd be interesting.
Perhaps.
trying to think of what water Pokemon.
It's like all those memes with Goku, where it's like someone's like talking about how strong they are, and the other person's like, don't say that.
Yeah.
And then Goku shows up.
Exactly what I'm thinking of, honestly. There's a couple. There's a crab Pokemon that has like boxing gloves. I don't know what its name is. It's something fighty.
Right.
There's also like an octopus Pokemon that's like punchy.
Is the
I don't know why that became a thing. They just like needed more water fighting types, I guess. So
yeah.
They started making punchy.
I think there's multiple.
Yeah, there are.
There's also like the crab thing that's like ice type. That's like has big.
Yeah, but again, this could be just like we've already established. Pokédex descriptions are not exactly what you'd call truthful. This could be like something that like lives in the mountains, and it's just like some random fact some kid wrote in the Pokédex apparently about how they emerged from the sea looking for a fight. Test their skills, and you're like, you mean that flower Pokemon, like the flower over there? But it doesn't matter. I'm not going to try to draw the original Pokemon anyway. I'm just going to go for what
something that it describes.
Something. Okay, so the first thing is that it's looking for an opponent. Right? Like it's got to look for its opponent. So like we've got to have some eyeballs.
So while you're drawing those eyes, I just want to bring up something we mentioned at the beginning of this episode about how we're not giving the fans what they asked for.
No.
With this episode,
and what we hate this.
And what we meant by that is this was our least viewed video.
Yeah, we scrolled through
the first.
We scrolled through them all.
We sorted by popularity or by views or whatever. We went to the very bottom. Only like 8 people watched this one.
I think it was 9 after we watched part of it again to see how bad it was.
Right.
And I'll be honest, it's not our best work, but it's also nothing.
I mean, like, there's a reason this. Like, don't go back and watch it.
No.
And maybe go back and see what we drew. Maybe it would be interesting.
Watch it on mute.
The audio quality of that video.
There was a time on Two Poor Artists when we're like, we're really poor in money too, so like what's the cheapest microphones we can buy, and we bought them.
And then Isaac's computer was having USB problems, and let me tell you, I mean, just go back and watch. I think what was it called, Pokemon Challenge or Pokedex Challenge, or I think it was Pokemon Challenge. You'll whatever this episode's called. It's that one. Yeah, go back and just like listen to it for like 2 seconds. You'll hear what we mean.
Yeah, but that's no excuse to not even click on it. Like,
that's
true.
Not
why it doesn't have views. That's why people turned it off, probably. But it doesn't have even. No one even like wanted to click on it.
It's true. Like I was surprised. Yeah, because I thought it was our Sausage Fest.
Video. Like I wouldn't click on that.
But that had like twice as many views.
Yeah, somehow.
We had to scroll past like 12 videos to get to this one. Our least viewed video, and it was a Pokemon thing.
Yeah,
like isn't Pokemon
universally below?
Yeah, like and doesn't everyone click on every Pokemon thing they see?
I do.
You see the word Pokemon on YouTube, you click on it.
Yeah. But apparently, when it's Two Poor Artists doing Pokemon...
Maybe it's because they know.
I mean, they should.
We're going to ruin Pokemon.
They should by this point.
Is this the same Pokemon? The eyes and this thing?
Maybe this is just like an aesthetic choice. Like, this is the hole in the ground from the castle that it stole.
That's why I'm asking. Like, is this like a clam Pokemon that shoots its eyes out looking for a fight? Or is this...
This is the same Pokemon. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Like, does it have like eyeballs to patrol the land for it, then return?
That would be cool.
We've found one.
What does a clam look like?
Can clams fight?
No, this one can. You'll see. We'll get there.
Okay. I think clams are known for hiding away.
Yeah, that's why this one's so interesting. In case you didn't know why this video is interesting, that's why. So it's like clamshell
There's also a surprising number of clam Pokemon.
Yeah, I know.
Because there's like Cloyster, and it's like...
That was the original.
That was original. The original Pokemon oftentimes were just too much. It's this Pokemon. Like, oh, it's Cloyster, the clam.
Yeah.
And there's nothing about it.
The pony.
The pony, yeah. This is, Seal, the seal.
This is Psyduck, the duck.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot. There's a lot. Like, the original... Like, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, no. All new Pokemon are unoriginal and lame, and original Pokemon is where it's at.
To those people, no.
Yeah.
Having an ice cream cone Pokemon, people like to hate on the ice cream cone Pokemon.
It wasn't Mr. Mime.
No, it wasn't. Whoever thought that a mime, just a straight up mime, creepy little mime that hangs out with the main character's mom, like too much.
Yeah.
If anybody thought that was a good idea, let me tell you, you're wrong.
Yeah. And like the ice cream Pokemon, like it was like set in Italy with, and it was like a gelato Pokemon. Like there was like lore.
Yeah.
There was like real world thought
it was
that went into it. Like, yeah, is it the best design they've ever come up with? No, but there was reason.
Yeah, and
there was thought. It wasn't lazy.
The point is, stop hating on bad Pokemon designs.
Yeah, no, but it got even more lazy. I do agree in this sense when it was like, we already have a couple clam Pokemons. Let's do more.
I'm not encouraging the creation of more clam Pokemon. I'm just doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't make it. This is the last one. Don't make any more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, not that mine wasn't even Pokemon-esque at all. Mine was just a dragon.
Pokemon-esque?
Pokemon-esque.
Versus esque?
Yeah. Mine wasn't Pokemon-esque at all. It was just a dragon.
It's true.
A 6-legged dragon. You would never see... You pushed the wrong button.
I did press the wrong button.
You would never see my Pokemon in a Pokemon game.
No.
Not even like a knockoff Pokemon game.
Because it would scare the children too much. Wasn't planning on shading that in, but the pen is having some interesting ideas.
That's how it works. We think we may have figured out why the pen does it.
Yeah, but it's doing it.
But there's no real solution.
No. Only solution is for us to get a 2 poor artist hotel and have the money to buy a new pen.
Yeah.
Because that's how poor we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So we're not asking you to give us money or give us a pen.
No.
Just a hotel.
Yeah, that's all we ask, because, like, you can...
We're willing to start off lower.
Yeah.
Like, just let us do the art in your hotel.
Because you give a man a pen and he can draw for a day, but you give a man a hotel and he'll draw forever.
Yeah, at least he'll draw for however many rooms there are in the hotel.
Exactly right. And if you just keep building more rooms onto the hotel, we'll never stop.
Yep.
That might sound like a threat to some people.
It might.
This is kind of like a Jack-in-the-Box Pokemon. Like like that arm just like springs out when you open it.
Right.
He's like getting ready for a fight because
like this Pokemon I could actually see. Like if you did like a Jack-in-the-Box clam themed Pokemon with like the joke, that's the classic joke of, oh, it's Jack-in-the-Box, but a fist boxing glove comes out of it.
That's like
Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes, Joker from the animated series. Mm-hmm. Like that's like classic, clown joke.
Not that I'm encouraging more clown themed things because they're just creepy. Mm-hmm. But you say you're not encouraging, but
you're making clown clam. You can even. I mean, there's got to be some good naming scheme in there.
Yeah.
Like you could have named this, but like clown and clam already are pretty similar words.
I got to start thinking of that for the end of the drawing.
But clown. Then there's all these eyeballs.
Yeah, they're getting out of hand, aren't they? They're just everywhere.
Like,
and I haven't figured out a good reason.
Are they like pearls that the clam makes?
No. They're definitely pearls, and the boxing glove itself is like pearly and hard. It's not soft like a boxing glove is. It's it's not.
Right.
Yeah, but these are like just eyes. They're just normal eyes. They're squishy.
Okay.
They make, that like
but they're like
sound
they're outside of it.
Yeah, I haven't figured. I think okay. So here's
do they have wings? Do they float on the water?
Here's what you can't see. This thing's back is covered with like Holes. It's real gross. Try not to think about it too much.
Yeah. Holes on creatures are the grossest.
And these, yeah, it's like it's making me ill just thinking about it. But these are all like they spring out kind of like the Jack-in-the-Box arm, and they just kind of like you like if you're walking by the shallow end of the ocean, you just see like all these like sinewy, stringy things coming out of the water. They don't come out like one at a time. They like burst out like a Jack-in-the-Box.
Right.
There's just like a bunch of eyes suddenly looking at you. But then when this thing emerges from the water, it like retracts them. And
those things are like sturdy.
No,
like these aren't.
They're muscly enough to like hold these up. But I wouldn't really call them sturdy.
Well, yeah, but they're not like floating on the water, on the surface of the water. Looking.
I mean, I guess they could. You know, but like they're kind of like, imagine you plucked your eye out, but it was still attached.
Right.
It's like,
but like that couldn't hold up the eye.
Yeah. And then you flex the part that's holding the eyeball, and it stiffens slightly.
Yeah. See,
I'm not proud of what I'm drawing.
You had me with this design until this.
Yeah, we can always edit it for the children, for the Pokemon Company.
Like, if these were, like, drone things that it, like, sent out, or if these were, like...
No, they have to be part of its
like,
body.
things that just, like, float on the water, maybe I could see it.
You know how creepy it'd be to be swimming in the ocean and there's just, like, a pile of eyeballs suddenly, and then they just, like... sucked back in, and then this thing,
and then a punching glove comes up,
and then this thing
made of pearl.
I guess okay. So picture that you're like sitting in a rounded chair,
and
you just like teeter back and forth to get out of to walk around.
Right.
That's basically what this thing has to do. It has to rock it. It just like rocks its way back and forth. It punches like it walks on its hands almost too.
Does it have two hands?
It does. It does.
'Cause, I mean, you mentioned hands, but you drew one.
I haven't drawn the other one yet. Would you like to know why? It's because I don't know which way the thumb is supposed to go.
Well, wouldn't it be just like both thumbs go up?
Yeah, something like that.
That's how my hands work, at least.
Yeah, but drawing hands is tricky. That one's weirder.
This one looks a little bit more like a mitten than a boxing glove.
Yeah, well, maybe the shiny version of this Pokemon has like oven mitts.
They don't do that too often.
Yeah, or they do something cool with a shiny Pokemon. I know.
Like anything different, they usually just change the color.
It's true.
The only times they do like differences is usually the male and female. But people would get mad if you suggested the female version has oven mitts and the male version has boxing gloves.
Ooh, I give it a definitive eyebrow. And you might be thinking, it's a clam. How does it have hair? Well, the same way your dragon has hair. It's just, it's good.
All things can have hair.
Yeah, because it doesn't have the eyebrow until it's like ready to fight. Like it just like, just like bursts out. Like in a...
See, when you're drawing cartoons, you can do things like that all you want.
You can.
That's why like the realistic Pokemon though always looks so disturbing.
Terrifying. I know.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, I didn't think about that being hair.
Yeah.
Or like that thing. Like Bulbasaur should not have skin like that. Like
it shouldn't be like leathery, like an actual reptile.
Yeah,
it should just be smooth. Like all Pokemon are just smooth.
And, they don't have like hair or skin or.
Yeah, Detective Pikachu actually handled it pretty well.
Yeah, it was pretty good, but still, like Mr. Mime, who's already a fairly creepy Pokemon, is just like extra creepy.
Yeah,
and even Charizard, you're just like It's more disturbing than it is cool.
Yeah, I agree. The disturbing factor well outweighs the cool, interesting factor.
Like you think Charizard's an easy one. He's a dragon. Draw him like a dragon. He has scales and everything. But it's like when you see that, you're like, but the proportion, like this isn't Charizard anymore.
It's not. No, it's not. I'm trying to think if this thing needs more eyes.
I don't.
What do you think?
I don't think it does. You could put like fake eyes on the clamshell.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
That way, it's like, oh, that's its eyes.
That might be a little overkill, though, don't you think?
You're the one that wanted more eyes.
I'm contemplating it. You're helping me work through this as a fellow poor artist. Yeah, no more eyes. No more eyes.
So is this thing currently underwater, or is it out looking for a fight?
I think this thing is just emerged from the water.
Mm-hmm.
Like the eyes haven't quite, retracted yet. Yeah. It's just it's like a wild whatever its name has appeared.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
What typing is this? Is this water fighting? Is that we never talked about the typing of my Pokemon.
It's definitely a water fighting Pokemon.
Mine was clearly Dragon.
Yeah, I mean
probably Dragon Dark.
Uh-huh. This might be like maybe you do something surprising with this. Like it's not a fighting Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Like it totally should be.
Yeah.
But it's not. Or it's like not a water Pokemon.
Right.
Like it hides in the water, but it doesn't use any water moves.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll make this a dark fighting type.
Okay.
Dark fighting. I can't.
And then it just happens to live in the water.
Yeah, because it
doesn't use water.
No,
moves.
it's totally shaped like a clam. There's a lot of Pokemon that are like that, where you look at it and you're like for example, Charizard.
Mm-hmm.
Charizard 100% is like the exact thing you think of when you think of dragon.
Mm-hmm.
It's not dragon type.
Right.
It is fire flying type.
Yeah.
And that's just a huge oversight on this part. People are going to look at this and be like, "Oh, it's clearly coming out of the water. It's dripping wet." But it's not a water type.
Mm-hmm. Right. Do you want to know something about the original Pokemon that this is based off? The actual Pokedex?
Oh, yeah. I almost forgot about that.
It is also not a water type.
Oh.
So, that's a little...
Is it a dark fighting type?
No, just fighting.
Oh, see? I thought I was being original. But I guess the dark type. It's dark. It's scary. Like, it's slightly...
Mm-hmm.
This is like sort of Lovecraftian horror. Like when you see this thing.
Yeah, not quite the Persian horror that mine was.
Not the Persian horror. It's amazing how creepy our Pokemon have gotten today.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not what we set out to do.
Yeah. Do you want to... So I told you the Shield Pokedex entry. Uh-huh. Do you want to hear the Sword Pokedex entry?
Is it just going to tell me straight up what this Pokemon is?
It's going to describe it.
Yeah, go
a bit more. I mean, it will tell you what you did wrong, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, that's what I always want to hear.
The Pokedex entry for the Sword version is a body made up of nothing but muscle makes the grappling moves this Pokemon perform with its tentacles tremendously powerful.
It has its name is Grapple something, Octagrapple or Grappleoct or
yeah, it's Grapploct.
Grappleoct, yeah. Okay, so this is the octopus.
Yeah,
this guy looks cool.
Mm-hmm. He looks like you'd be dark fighting.
Yeah, he does. He does, but no, it goes to this guy. This guy also, like so many other Pokemon, you can't see most of what you imagine its face to be. Mm-hmm. There's so many Pokemon, especially the clam Pokemon and stuff, where you're like, there's got to be more to it, right? Like, there's got to be like a full head in there. We just can't see it. Mm-hmm. All you ever see is its eyebrows and its eyes,
Yeah. Well, like it's kind of like luchador mask type.
Oh, you're talking about your... I was talking about mine.
Oh, yeah, yours, yeah.
No,
right.
Yeah. No, that one also, though, has like the luchador kind of style going for it. It's a cool looking Pokemon.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like Cloyster. It's like there's so many debates on like, is Cloyster actually like a Haunter in there, pretending, or because it's just like you don't see it at all. It's literally just eyes peeking out of a clamshell.
So what do we call this thing? I'm thinking it's got to be Jack in the Box clam themed. We could do like Shell Pop. Shell Pop, or
that's pretty good.
You could do like Jack in the Shell, Shell in the Jack Box.
You should have made it more like pop music themed and called the clam pop.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Maybe it like evolves into something with, like all of those eyes suddenly turn to like microphones, and it uses sound.
and then it becomes a pun off of glam pop, but clam pop.
So we'll leave that. Do Clam Spring, like it's springy. The eyes.
Right.
What was the original one I said? Shell Pop.
Yeah.
See.
I think that's still the best thus
Pop.
far.
We'll go with Shell Pop. Shell Pop, the shell Pokemon.
Except you need to like spell it weird and like not be 2 words.
Shell.
Because Pokemon aren't, they don't have 2 word, except for the new ones. We talked about that a bit, where how the new Pokemon have horrible naming schemes.
Shell. Pop. How else do you spell pop?
With an AW.
Now it feels like it has paws. Paw. I'll do a U.
Oh, yeah.
Shell pop.
Perfect.
So dumb. It's like a phonetic pun. Like, only when you say Pokemon names out loud do you start to understand the puns some of the times.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
It's funny how many, like, as a kid you didn't at all get them, and then you find out you're pronouncing them wrong because you didn't get the pun.
Yeah, it's true. It's also funny because, like, a lot of their names in Japanese are like way different.
Yeah,
because
they're
the puns,
Japanese.
Yeah,
pun.
they have to be puns in Japanese.
Yeah. Like Farfetch'd. Like in our language, it all makes sense. In their language, it has way more to do with the actual Pokemon.
Yeah. Also, aren't there Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee different? Like we have Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee because we have Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee, and they changed theirs to like
one of them's like named after a sumo wrestler, I think.
Because like that's what they would
it's
understand.
Like
really
famous people.
With Shell Pop. The popping shell. They always say something dumb when they say it. They scan it with their Pokedex and they're like Shell Pop, the popping shell Pokemon. This Pokemon searches for opponents with its multitude of eyes that pop out of its back, and you're just like vomiting as you're picturing it.
Like Grapploct, you would expect it to be the grapple Pokemon. It's the Jujitsu Pokemon.
Yeah, see? Nope. But I guess it's like you grapple in Jujitsu. I don't know. You have to know Jujitsu really well to understand that. I'm going to put my name over here. This isn't half bad, though. I mean, it's creepy as all get out, but like I wouldn't want to show this to my children ever, no matter how old they get.
Yep.
Yeah. It's kind of gross, kind of funny. It's got that eyebrow that really gives it character.
Like there's elements of this that could be a real Pokemon, not the multiple eyes. Like remove that entirely.
But then how is it going to search for opponents while it's under the water?
The original Pokemon that has that Pokedex entry doesn't.
Yeah, there's no way it's finding Pokemon. Like it's just like up on the shore looking around.
Yeah, it leaves the shore and looks around.
It's just like a normal person
looking around. This is the Pokemon world.
Yeah.
You know when there's a powerful opponent because they're destroying mountains.
Yep, it's true.
They're
floating away with children.
Space-time.
Yeah. And this Pokemon's going to challenge them all. And in the Pokemon world, has a chance of winning.
Yeah. Tyranitar, who's invulnerable, this thing does 4 times damage against it.
Very true.
It would beat it in one punch.
The Tyranitar.
The invulnerable killer. Mountain Eater. This thing one punches it.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. Plus, think of all the... There's a Pokemon move called Scary Face. This thing wins Scary Face. Yeah. Because it just looks at you with all of its eyes. You know? And you get real scared.
Yep.
Because of its face.
Yeah.
Thus, Scary Face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get it.
We got there? Okay, that's good. Well, I say this video should get at least 10 views.
Yeah. This is one of our longer videos.
This is what you get when you don't watch our videos. We make an extra long version
you have to
of it.
Suffer longer.
That's just how it works. We don't know what you want, and we
That's
don't know how
nothing
to
do with the fact that we messed up making this video.
Yeah, and then had to re-record part of it. And, no, because that doesn't happen.
That would never happen.
It would never happen, and it didn't happen today. Because it happened 2 days ago when we tried to. Anyway, we hope you enjoy this video. We hope that you actually click on it. There's a good chance like only like a handful of our close friends and relatives are even going to watch this like they did with the first one. So,
right.
You know.
It was probably just us 8 times.
Yeah, it probably was. It was early in the days and we're like, look at us, we're on YouTube.
Well, we probably listened to it to try to figure out what the audio problems.
Yeah, sometimes we listen to the bad stuff we do just to remember what we've done. What we've put out in the world.
So probably no one watched that first one at all.
But maybe they'll watch this one. And we hope that you have many wonderful things happen in your day.
That's not ending.
Yeah, it's really, it's like a fortune cookie.
Normally we like apologize.
Let's just do that. I'm sorry.
As am I.
See you next time.
Bye.
It'd be weird if a fortune cookie just said, "I'm sorry," and then you flip it over and it's like, "I'm sorry too," and then
the perfect fortune cookie.
As always, we're surprised you made it this far into our video.
There's no way we could possibly ask you to subscribe to this atrocity, so we won't.
We would say share it with your friends, but it's probably better for wasting your enemy's time.
We're probably not going to get any better, but we will keep drawing.
See you next time.